So I have just made my final purchase of the day. I am now fully spent up. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm at Swanea Card Show alongside my PokePals podcast brothers, and we are here to cover the event. That is a wild Pokemush. Please throw Ultra Balls at him and give him a little tickle. Now today I'm going to be trying to build a competitive TCG deck right here at the show. Hopefully vendors will have bulk boxes. If not, I'm in for one tricky day. So what we like to see is having a binder full of EX cards for deck building. Let's see if I can find any of the ones that I actually need. These new Mega Half Art EXs are absolutely unreal.
Because I'm looking at doing a Gardevoir EX deck, obviously I'll be looking for Gardevoirs, but also the big sort of hitters for the deck are the Fezandipity EX and the Mew EX from 151. Now obviously that card has gone a bit crazy lately because not only is it an insanely playable card, it's also from 151, which is an expensive set anyway, so I knew that was going to be an absolute kicker, so I was hoping to find it early on in the day so that I could see what kind of budget I'd be left with. I always like to try and show you guys as well like the prices at card shows, just so you can get a bit of an idea of like what any markups are, what kind of budget you need to take and work with, just to sort of show you what's available on the day as well.
So a couple pickups for the deck from Curious Collector. We've got the Enamorous Reverse Holo, the Jellicent EX, Lily's Clefairy EX, and then two Gardevoir EX from Scarlet and Violet base. Now I will be running Mega Gardevoir, but always good to have a couple of these in the deck as well.
And then not long after that pickup, I managed to find the Fezandipity EX. Now, this card was £10, but again, it's just because of the playability. You look at the current meta and rotation, this card pops up in so many decks. I was just having a nice chat with the vendor about the latest Mega set when I saw it, so I was like, yeah, that's going straight out the binder and in the commit to buy pile. And just because I'm here trying to build a competitive deck doesn't mean I can't admire some of the absolutely unreal singles that are on display in this cabinet. So this was my second trip to the Curious Collector, and I'd spotted that they'd now got their bulk bins out. As I was there with the podcast, I was able to sort of have a bit of a provisional look around whilst people were setting up. Obviously you didn't want to hassle them or try and take any advantage, but it was just nice to be able to spot check stuff as I was going around to know where I wanted to come back to. And here I am talking to the vendor, and he's explaining to me how they've got this cards organised and categorised by set and then their set numbers. So it made looking for trainer cards here in particular so easy, because we know trainer cards come at the end of the commons for a set. So I was just able to go straight in and be like, yeah, here's all of the trainer cards that I could need. And I was just able to flick through, and it was so good, so reasonably priced as well. I think there's something silly like 50p for 10 cards or £1 for 10 cards, but when you think some of these cards that I'm getting are going to be crazy playable things or latest releases, the fact that the bulk was this affordable was so good, and it went a real long way in helping me build my deck at the show. It even got to the point where they were Googling set codes for me and seeing what other sets cards had actually been printed in. So I wasn't just looking in the one that I knew it was in, they were looking at the alternatives for me. And it just meant that I managed to get so much. I picked up something crazy like 7 earthen vessels across a couple of sets, managed to get a few Monkey Dories from, again, across Prismatic Evolutions and Twilight Masquerade. And it just really helped me get the cards that I need, and they didn't rush me. There was no pressure, no hassle. They honestly couldn't do enough for me. So I just want to give a massive shout out to the Curious Collector. These guys were absolutely incredible and absolutely made my show as well.
So had an absolutely insane bit of luck at the Curious Collector. They had loads of bulk boxes, and it was an absolute dream. They could not have been more helpful. They were Googling set codes for me. They were seeing what sets cards were reprinted in. And as you can see, I got myself a pretty tasty little stack. So let's flick through and just see what we got. So we've got the Ace Spec Maximum Belt. We've got a few Monkey Dory Hollows. We've got Earthen Vessels, which, I mean, these were like a couple of pennies each. Normally, you go on like Card Market, these are quite expensive because of how playable they are. Festival Grounds, Night Stretcher, Professor Sada's Vitality, Artisan. Surprisingly hard to find, which I was shocked at, but managed to get it. Curlier from the new Mega Set. Ultra Ball, Rare Candy, Iono, wouldn't be a deck without Lily, Nest Ball, Artisan, couple Ultra Balls, Nest Ball, Pokegear 3.0, and then loads more Earthen Vessels because I plan on building quite a few decks, but absolutely insane. And that whole bundle cost me £4.50, which, I mean, I came here with the aim of building a competitive deck today, and I think I may have actually done it. When I get home from the show, I will do a complete wrap-up, but man, I am over the moon, and it just goes to show that you can come to a card show, not just hunting big grails, not just hunting slabs, alternate arts, anything like that. There are playable cards here, and for me, it's been a nice way of enjoying a show, not having to come in and spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds. This stack, less than a fiver, and it's gone a long way towards my deck. So I'll keep you posted. We'll check back in a bit. Right, it is now time to do a £10 card challenge. Try and find the best card that we can for £10 or less. I am definitely going to be using cash to try and get a bit of a better deal. Hopefully there's going to be some absolute gems still in some more binders out here. It's quite busy, so I will try and film as much as I can, but I also don't want to be getting anyone else's way, so let's see how we get on.
Now, as we only have a £10 budget for this challenge, one of the big things I always do is go straight for binders, and preferably Japanese binders. I'm not as fussed on condition here because it's like you can get a much nicer card in slightly worse condition for around the same sort of money as like a near mint, newer sort of illustration rare or something. I mean, that Alakazam caught my eye straight away, bang on the money for £10, but I was like, I don't want to just get the first thing I saw. Same with Erica's Vileplume, like that is such a stunning card. But there's so much stuff in this binder. This was with Kabuto cards. Really rate this vendor. Seen them at a couple of shows. If you remember my London Card Show vlog, I actually managed to pick up a couple of the cards I needed for my 151 master set from them. So massive shout out, will continue to go to them. And there's just so much stuff in this binder that I was like, if I didn't have this £10 budget, I would have absolutely spent it all and then some. I was really tempted by this Mega Steelix. I mean, it was bang on the money, but I was like, it's something that I would absolutely love, but does it have that instant wow factor? I mean, all of the boys and I love Steelix, but I was like, because this is going out to a public vote, maybe I'll go for something that's a bit more fan favourite, like that Flying Pikachu, but then you don't want to just be picking a Pikachu, let's have some originality. Now, this was the binder where I was like, yeah, I'm getting some out of this. I love this Sharifu VMAX artwork. I think it's so underrated, and for a tenner, I was like, it's bang on the money. One I'd love in the PC. But then, speaking of the PC, I saw this Blaziken VMAX, and I've been after this card for ages. It's not even like an expensive one, it's just one that I've wanted and haven't picked up yet. So then I was like, oh, it's got to come down to one of these two, hasn't it? And I just could not decide for ages which one I wanted to go for.
So we've just done our little card of ours, managed to pick up this beautiful Blaziken VMAX for £10 cash from Kabuto card, so hoping that will see me well. That's me pretty much spent up now, so can have another little look around just see if there's anything I may have missed or something else I could get, but overall very happy. This is a card I've actually been wanting for a while as well, so yeah, pretty chuffed with that. So I am now back from an incredible Swansea Card Show. The journey back was absolutely pissing it down. Lots of rain, lots of Sunday drivers. Exactly what you want after being up from 2:30 a.m. But we made it. So now let me run you through everything I picked up.
First things first, a few trades I did with the boys. So Mush gave me this beautiful Gardevoir and this stunning Spiritomb, a Holo Steelix that I need for my Master Collection, and a Reverse Holo Steelix that I needed. I absolutely love doing these Pokemon Master Collections because I get to appreciate artworks and cards that previously you'd like look at and be like, oh, that's replacing the hit from the pack. So I mean, super happy with this. 2 I needed. Very happy to be ticking these off for the collection. And the fact that it came from one of my best mates in the hobby, great. And then from Tone, I got a lot of trainer cards for my deck building. These aren't necessarily going into the deck that I wanted to build at the show, but these are just going to be super handy for me to have going forward. And Monkey Dory is such a pain in the TCG, so definitely going to be featuring in some decks. Whimsicott EX for if I fancy building a grass type deck. The Veluza EX for if I do a water type deck. An incredible Gengar EX, obviously one of my favourite Pokemon. This is going to go into any dark type deck that I build. And then also the Gold Nest Ball from Scarlet and Violet base, instantly adding some bling to my deck. Although if I was to whack this out, someone might think I know what I'm actually doing, which would be quite underwhelming when I fumble every turn. But so nice to have. So grateful to have been given this as part of a trade. I mean, Tone was just giving it me, but I had to give him something for it, so I threw in a couple of cards for his collections that he needed. But yeah, this is beautiful. Cannot wait to get it into a deck, and then also just try and play with it, but inevitably fail miserably. But as long as I win one round, I would be over the moon, because that would be a mammoth improvement on my first outing. So yeah, the only way's up, and maybe I could go for gold with this. Pardon the pun, it's dreadful, and so am I at the game. And then we get into the absolute meat of my purchases at the event. Obviously, a lot of deck building. If anyone plays the TCG, you know how good this Pheasantipity is and how crucial it is to a lot of decks, because it allows you to draw cards if one of your Pokemon have been knocked out. And the one thing that I really took away from my first sort of go at playing the game properly is that you cannot have enough sort of mobility in your deck in the sense of like drawing cards, because without them you are just left at an absolute dead end. And it's why the card's so expensive, like £10 for an EX of a Pokemon that people don't really care about. It's just insanely playable. So it was a must pick up for me. And then I managed to find another one, inevitably a bit later on, far cheaper, so thought I'd pick it up just in case, because there's so many decks that this can slot into, so it's never going to hurt having multiple. And also the Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon. Again, not a Pokemon many people care about. I don't really either. I think the cards are beautiful, especially these terraformed ones, because they've got the incredible texture on them. But the ability that is so beautifully blocked out by the price tag, it actually prevents all damage taken from attacks by Pokemon that have an ability box. So it can be a great card for like stalling, prolonging, and giving you the opportunity to actually like build and rotate your play. So really good to have. I had this in my Mega Lucario deck, and it definitely bought me like another 5 or 6 turns. Couldn't do anything with those turns, but it gave me time that I wouldn't have had previously. So having another one of these in my deck will just give me a bit more stalling time and like more opportunity to think about my next move. So really good to have. We'll be adding it into my Mega Lucario deck just as a stall tactic. Then we picked up the Lily's Clefairy EX for my Psychic type deck build. I'm going for a Gardevoir EX deck, which I will build in full at the end of this video, but really good pickup. Only £3, super handy in my deck. Same with the Enamorous Reverse Holo. Not a card that's particularly like high up on my list of wants or needs, but just a good one to throw into the deck. You only need the one for the deck I'm trying to build, and again I picked this up for like a couple of pence, so really happy with that. I then picked up 2 Gardevoir EXs from Scarlet and Violet base. As you can tell, going for that Mega Gardevoir deck, I'll be able to use these sort of interchangeably with the Megas, so will be a good deck to build. really excited to put it all together, which I'll do in a bit. Great price as well, super playable, really happy with that. Same with the Jellicent EX, only £2, will be handy in my deck. This was from the Curious Collector, who absolutely sorted me out on the day. I have been well and truly hooked up with this absolute stack of cards that, when I tell you the price of this, you will not believe it, especially when you see the cards that are in here. So I picked up 3 Monkey Dory Hollows, a Curlier from Mega, an Ultra Ball from Mega, an Iono, a Maximum Belt, Festival Grounds, loads of Earthen Vessels so that I can build more decks in the future, a few Night Stretchers, Professor Sader's Vitality, Rare Candy, a couple of Nest Balls, Lily's Determination because every deck needs Lilies, Artisan, picked up a couple of these. These were really weirdly hard to find. A couple of Ultra Balls and then a couple Pokegear 3.0s. Now I know that this is just like a lot of bulk, but this stack of insanely useful cards that I needed for my deck cost £4.50, which if I was to pick it up separately off the likes of Card Market, I definitely would be paying more than that. And to get it at a show in person, be helped as much as I was by the vendor who had all of the cards listed in set order, in number order, categorized everything. It was flawless, and they couldn't have done enough for me in terms of like looking at what sets cards were like reprinted in, what their numbers were, where they'd be in the box. Super grateful. The Curious Collector, you absolutely made my day. So thank you very much for sorting me out with these. And then the final deck purchase I made was a bit of a big one. It's the Mew EX from 151, insanely playable, and the fact that it's from 151 as well just puts such a premium on the card. So £11 was actually a really reasonable price. I always saw some people selling this exact one for £20-25, and then the prize pack stamped one for 40 to 60. So some insane prices. Super happy to get this for just over a tenner. All in all, happy days. Great one for the deck. And then we move into some of the more like fun purchases. So did pick up a couple packs of Mega whilst we were there for a couple of pack battles. Didn't get anything on the first pack, but on the second pack I pulled the Executor Illustration Rare. Now I've got this card in Japanese, but having it in English as well, super happy. This was actually one of my favourite cards from the set. It's a Pokemon that I feel doesn't get enough love. Such a tank. So good to use. Really happy to have picked this up. And then one of my more recent pickups from a recent set, the Dugong Illustration Rare from Inferno X. I'm convinced that this is connected to the Keldeo Illustration Rare from V-Star Universe. Just looking at the shape of the Northern Lights, or like the Aurora Borealis, it follows the exact same sort of pattern, just from a different perspective. We were to like flip it round, Keldeo would be sort of like back here somewhere, just running across the ice. I'm convinced that they're connected. I am going to look into see if it's the same artist, because it does seem a little bit suspiciously close. And if it is, you can watch all of the stock dogs go absolutely crazy and inflate the price of this card beyond belief. So glad I picked it up for a £5. May drop, may shoot up. I just wanted it because I love the artwork. I then picked up the Blaziken VMAX. Stick it at £12, paid £10 cash. Always good to take cash with you to card shows. Got this one from Kabuto Cards, and I used this for my Little Card of Ours challenge over on the podcast, so definitely go and check that out. Beautiful card, wanted it for ages, and able to pick it up cheaply in person. Very happy. My last purchase of the day was the Arceus V Pokemon Legends Arceus promo. Now in English this isn't a stamped promo, it just comes in a collection box. So getting it actually stamped with the game, incredible card, still sealed for £10. As soon as I saw it I was like, yep, this is absolutely coming home with me. What a banger. I picked up the Volcanion X and Y promo, again stick it at £12, paid £10 cash. I think Volcanion's crazy underrated, such a beautiful card, absolutely love the artwork. Volcanion, underrated Pokemon massively, having the dual type in. Such a cool artwork, I can't believe people sleep on it as much as they do. And then arguably my favourite pickup of the day,
the reverse hollow stamped Ursa Ring from Unseen Forces. Insane hollow pattern, incredible artwork. One of my favourite cards that I picked up for sure. The podcast was also very kindly gifted a £10 mystery slab from Collector Parcel to open up on YouTube. So I just wanted to give them a shout out on my own channel as well as the podcast. I managed to get a PCG 9 Mankey, the Annihilate EX box. I love me a Cosmo Hollow, and the fact that it's a Welsh grading company picked up from a card show in Wales with the podcast. This is something that will be staying in my personal collection forever because of the memories associated with it. So happy, couldn't believe the generosity. Just think it's a beautiful little memento from such a fantastic day. And then my final purchase of the day from Bad's Gaming, I picked up one of his custom acrylic slab protectors. As we know on the channel, I very recently graded a Sabrina's Gengar from Challenge from the Darkness and have it returned with perfect 10s. I want to protect this at all costs. Such a beautiful card. It is never leaving my collection. And I thought, what better way than to slap it in a huge amount of acrylic and have it as a permanent feature on my desk. So let's get that fully sealed up. Shout out to Bad's Gaming as well. He's recently opened a shop. Still in the process of setting it up. I will definitely be paying it a visit at some point. Super friendly guy. I see him at so many card shows. He's one of the busiest people out there, I think. So this is the case, has Bad's logo very subtly just down here, so it doesn't even need to be visible if you don't want it to. And we can just slide the Gengar in, clamp that on top, and there we have it. Protected, immortalised, arguably my favourite card of all time and an absolute grail in my collection. Super happy with that. Let me know what your favourite thing that I picked up was, and if there was anything you think I overpaid, underpaid for, or are questioning, Ed, why on earth did you buy that? Let me know in the comment section. So this deck is going to be made up of 7 Psychic Energies, 4 Dark Energies, a Scream Tail, 4 Monkey Dories, 2 Curlier, 4 Rolt, 2 Gardevoir EX, 2 Mega Gardevoir EX. Absolutely love these latest Mega half art EXs. A Latias EX, a Mew EX, a Lily's Clefairy EX, Pheasantipity EX, Nest Ball, Counter Catcher, 3 Lily's Determination, 2 Buddy Buddy Puffin, a Counter Gain, 2 Mega Signal, 2 Rare Candy, an Artisan, 1 Iono, 2 Boss's Orders, 4 Ultra Ball, 2 Night Stretcher, 3 Earthen Vessel, 2 Lieutenant Surge's Bargain, 2 Professor's Research, and a Secret Box Ace Spec. Now, the big theme of this deck overall is just making sure that I have as much mobility as possible to draw cards, get them into my hand from my deck, know what's going to be in my prize cards by being able to flick through quite quickly, have as much firepower as I can, focusing around Gardevoir, and just having the ability to say like jump from Rolts straight into a Gardevoir EX or a Mega Gardevoir, and then having the Dark Energy for the likes of Monkey Dory as well, just so that I can move that damage around, hopefully harass and poke as much as possible, and then ultimately get the job done and the knockout with my Mega Gardevoirs. So fingers crossed, I'm going to put this together and see how we get on at my next competitive league next week. And there we have it. Let me know if you enjoyed this type of video and enjoyed something different, instead of going to a card show to pick up, you know, big chase cards, alternate arts, anything like that, to actually going and trying to craft what I'm going to consider a competitive TCG deck. I'll let you know how I get on in the comment section after my next casual league session, but
several days later.
So quick update, I used this deck at my last casual league session and I actually managed to win 3 games out of 7 using it, so massive improvement on my 0 for 6 out in the week before. I think there's a lot of potential in this deck. It was really good to use. There was a lot of like knockout power, a lot of things that you can do, and a lot of mobility by having like so many draw card abilities and like energy attachments. think the one thing I really need to try and do is get better at sequencing, as there are a few games that I may not necessarily have won, but I could have maybe taken more prize cards, which could have freed up me to do like more things a bit further on, just due to how I went about it. In one game in particular, I definitely got a bit too keen on the knockout, which was against a Monkey Dory, but in doing that, it allowed them to move around their Pokemon, get a stronger Pokemon out front, whereas my Gardevoir at the time wasn't actually that strong because I still had a lot of energies I needed to attach to really bump up that firepower. A lot of things to work on, great potential in the deck. Really excited to use it a lot more going forward. I really want to put the time in on like TCG Live and in person to sort of get better with this deck, because it's so much fun to use. Mega Gardevoir as well, insane amount of knockout power if you can build it right. And a lot of mobility as well, so yeah, really keen to play it a bit more and hopefully get a bit better at playing the game. But as a second week goes and using a new deck that I built with you guys, over the moon, cannot wait to use it more. Let's see if we can get into more of a positive win rate than 50% next week. But for now, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe to keep up with all the updates on how I do in the TCG and on this channel. And I'll catch you guys soon. Pokey Strongman out.